Introduction to Flutter Layout. Widgets. Flutter provides a rich set of layout widgets for building user interfaces. Among them, Row, Column, and Stack are fundamental for arranging and organizing widgets on the screen. Row Widget in Flutter. The Row Widget allows you to place children widgets horizontally side by side. Each child can have its own flexible properties, defining how much space it occupies within the row. Column Widget in Flutter. The Column Widget, on the other hand, organizes its children vertically. It's useful for creating interfaces with stacked components like forms or lists. Basic usage of Row and Column. Both Row and Column are straightforward to use. You simply wrap your desired widgets within them, and Flutter takes care of the layout. Flexibility in rows and columns. One of the powerful features of Row and Column is the flexibility they provide. You can assign weights to individual children using the expanded widget, ensuring proportional distribution of available space. Spacer Widget. The Spacer Widget is handy within rows and columns. It automatically fills any available space, allowing for flexible layouts, main axis alignment, and cross-axis alignment. Both Row and Column widgets support properties like main axis alignment and cross-axis alignment, letting you control how children align along the main and cross-axis. Cross-axis alignment in columns. In columns, the cross-axis represents the horizontal axis, influencing the alignment of widgets in the horizontal direction. Nested rows and columns. You can nest rows within columns and vice versa, creating intricate layouts by combining horizontal and vertical arrangements. Stack Widget in Flutter. The Stack Widget takes a different approach, allowing you to overlay widgets on top of each other. This is particularly useful for creating complex UIs with layers. Positioning. Widgets in a stack. Widgets within a stack are positioned using the Positioned widget, specifying where each child should be placed within the stack. Using Positioned widgets. Positioned widgets define the location of children in a stack, using properties like top, bottom, left, and right. Managing stack. Overflow. While powerful, the Stack widget requires careful consideration to prevent unintended overlap or overflow. It's essential to balance the layers effectively. Combining Row, Column, and Stack. Advanced layouts often involve combining Row, Column, and Stack widgets. This flexibility enables the creation of intricate and visually appealing user interfaces. Responsive design with rows and columns. Rows and columns play a crucial role in building responsive designs. Flutter's layout system adapts to different screen sizes, making it easier to create apps for various devices. Common use cases for rows and columns. Rows and columns are commonly used for arranging buttons, text fields, and other UI elements in a user-friendly manner. Dynamic layouts with rows and columns. Flutter's hot reload feature makes it easy to experiment with dynamic layouts. You can quickly see changes in real time, making the development process more efficient. Stack for overlapping elements. The Stack widget is perfect for scenarios where you need to overlap elements, such as having a floating action button over an image. Handling user input in rows and columns. Rows and columns can be wrapped with gesture detector or inkwell to handle user input, making the UI interactive. Customizing layouts with main axis alignment. Main axis alignment in row and column allows you to customize the spacing and alignment of children, providing fine-grained control over the layout. Creating multi-column lists. Rows and columns are instrumental in creating multi-column lists, where items flow horizontally and wrap to the next row. Expanding and contracting children. The expanded widget is a powerful tool in both row and column, enabling children to expand or contract based on available space. Performance considerations. While Flutter's layout system is efficient, it's important to be mindful of the number of widgets and their complexity to maintain optimal performance. Dynamic layouts with Media Query. Media Query is a valuable tool when creating dynamic layouts, allowing you to adapt your UI based on the device's characteristics, such as screen size or orientation. Alignment and main axis. Alignment in rows. In the Row widget, the main axis alignment property allows you to control the alignment of children along the horizontal axis. Options such as start, end, and center help achieve precise layouts. Vertical alignment in columns. Similarly, in the Column widget, the main axis alignment property controls the vertical alignment of children. This is useful for creating vertically centered or bottom-aligned layouts. Nested rows and columns for grids. By nesting rows and columns, you can create grid-like structures. This is particularly beneficial when organizing data or UI elements in a tabular format. Dynamic sizing with cross-axis alignment. The cross-axis alignment property in both row and column allows for dynamic sizing of children along the cross-axis. This is particularly useful when dealing with varying widget sizes within the same container. Intrinsic height of columns. Columns automatically adjust their height based on the intrinsic height of their children. This behavior simplifies the process of creating responsive interfaces, aspect ratios, in rows. The Row widget allows you to maintain a specific aspect ratio using the aspect ratio widget. This is particularly handy when dealing with images or containers that need to retain a specific width to height ratio. Flexible and expanded widgets in rows. The flexible and expanded widgets within rows enable more advanced layouts. They let children flexibly use available space, accommodating various screen sizes and orientations. Handling overflow in columns. In column layouts, managing overflow can be critical. The single child scroll view widget is often employed to enable scrolling when the content exceeds the available vertical space. Stack and positioned for layered UI. The Stack widget, when combined with the Positioned widget, facilitates the creation of layered UIs. This is commonly used for overlaying elements like dialogues, tooltips, or pop-ups, using main axis alignment. Space between. When arranging children in a row, main axis alignment space between evenly distributes the available space between widgets, creating a clean and evenly spaced layout. Customizing spacing in columns. Columns benefit from the cross-axis alignment property to customize the spacing between children along the vertical axis. This can be particularly useful for achieving a visually balanced design. Responsive UI with rows and media queries. Rows, when combined with media query, become powerful tools for creating responsive UIs. This allows for conditionally rendering different layouts based on the device's characteristics. Interactive rows with gesture detector. Rows can be made interactive by wrapping them with a gesture detector. This opens up possibilities for handling various gestures, such as taps or swipes, within the row layout. Aspect ratios in columns. Similar to rows, columns can maintain a specific aspect ratio using the aspect ratio widget. This is beneficial when ensuring consistent dimensions for items like video thumbnails. Understanding the flex property. The flex property within the expanded widget in rows and columns determines how space is distributed among children. Higher flex values result in more space allocation. Advanced stacking techniques. Stacking widgets in a stack can be taken to the next level by utilizing techniques like the position.fill property. This ensures a child widget takes up the entire available space within the stack. Expanded widget in rows and columns. The expanded widget plays a crucial role in distributing available space among the children of rows and columns. By wrapping a widget with expanded, you allow it to take up any remaining space within the parent. Flexible widget in rows and columns. Similar to expanded, the flexible widget provides a way to control how space is allocated among multiple children. It introduces the concept of flex factors, allowing you to define the proportion of space each child occupies. Text direction in rows and columns. Flutter supports internationalization and localization, and the text direction property in rows and columns ensures correct text alignment based on the reading direction of the language, accommodating both left-to-right and right-to-left layouts. Cross-axis alignment in rows. Understanding. Cross-axis alignment in rows is crucial for controlling the vertical alignment of widgets. It determines how children are aligned in the cross-axis, ensuring consistency in the layout. Cross-axis alignment in columns. In columns, cross-axis alignment influences the horizontal alignment of widgets. It's an essential property for achieving a well-balanced and visually appealing interface. Main axis alignment in rows. The main axis alignment property in rows defines how children are aligned along the main axis. Whether you want to start from the beginning, end, or center, this property provides flexibility in arranging widgets horizontally. Main axis alignment in columns. Similarly, main axis alignment in columns controls the vertical alignment of children along the main axis. This is useful for achieving a consistent vertical layout. Baseline alignment in rows and columns. For scenarios where aligning widgets based on their baseline is crucial, Flutter provides the baseline property, ensuring precise vertical alignment in both rows and columns. Nested rows and columns. Best practices. When nesting rows and columns, it's important to consider best practices to avoid layout issues. Properly utilizing expanded and flexible widgets within nested structures ensures predictable and responsive layouts. Intrinsic height and width in rows and columns. Understanding the concept of intrinsic height and width is crucial for handling scenarios where the content's natural size should be preserved. Flutter provides solutions for both rows and columns. Size box widget in rows and columns. The size box widget is useful for enforcing specific dimensions on children within rows and columns. It's a versatile tool for precise layout control. Aspect ratio. Widget in rows and columns. Flutter's aspect ratio. Widget ensures that its child maintains a specific aspect ratio. This is particularly useful when dealing with images or containers that need to adhere to specific proportions. Intrinsic width and intrinsic height. Widgets. For scenarios where you need a widget to have dimensions based on its intrinsic content, Flutter provides intrinsic width and intrinsic height widgets.